Today, I want to speak not about drones or NATO's reaction, but about the murder of Ukrainian citizen Irina Zorushka on the 22nd of August in the United States. And about how Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and the Democratic Party are connected to it.
Elisa Russo suffered several stab wounds in the Charlotte subway. Have you seen the video? Any reaction?
Where did this happen?
She was in Charlotte on a train. She was stabbed several times.
That's horrifying. I hadn't heard. When?
It happened in August. Video appeared recently.
I understand. Yes, I've seen. I'll check it by tomorrow morning.
Of course, this is sensitive content, and we cannot show it here. You have likely seen the video in Telegram channels, and are not ready to watch it again. 1 minute of that footage contains everything: fear, helplessness, and indifference. After the fatal blow to the Ukrainian woman, no one approached her. One would expect compassion and a clear statement that no person deserves to be murdered. Although the tragedy happened 21 days ago, people only began speaking about it openly a few days ago. Why? Let me try to piece this puzzle together. Irina will forever remain 23. A 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, she came to the US with her family in 2022, fleeing the war. She worked, studied English, and dreamed of being a veterinary assistant. On the 22nd of August, 2025, in Charlotte, North Carolina, she was in the same subway car as DeCarlos Brown Jr., who had no ticket. That did not stop him. He had a long history of legal trouble, at least 14 arrests, after which he was repeatedly released. He had documented mental health issues, including schizophrenia. This time, he sat behind Irina, pulled out a knife, and delivered several blows, one of them fatal, to the neck. This time, he was arrested again. It happened almost immediately. He was charged with first-degree murder at both state and federal levels for violating laws on homicide in the public transit system, whose surveillance footage we saw.
I stabbed her because I thought she was reading my mind. That is what the suspect told investigators about his motive for killing the Ukrainian refugee.
Although the story caused outrage, Donald Trump did not blame DeCarlos for the murder, despite calling for his execution, and instead blamed the Democrats. Moreover, Donald Trump seized upon the tragic and heartbreaking murder of the Ukrainian woman as a political opportunity to campaign vigorously for his fellow Republican candidate in the Senate race, claiming with certainty that if the American people choose to elect Michael Whatley, tragedies of this kind and magnitude would never occur again. What methodology the potential senator intends to use to prevent future murders, Trump did not disclose.
I saw a horrifying video of a young, beautiful Ukrainian refugee who had come to America fleeing the brutal war in Ukraine. She was innocently riding the subway in Charlotte, North Carolina, when she was viciously attacked by a mentally unstable man. The perpetrator is a known repeat offender, previously arrested and released on cashless bail in January, a total of 14 times. What was he doing riding the subway and walking freely on the streets? Criminals like this should be behind bars. The blood of this innocent woman is visible on the killer's knife, and now it is on the hands of Democrats who refuse to incarcerate dangerous individuals, including former governor and Senate candidate Roy Cooper. North Carolina, and every state in this country, needs law and order. Only the Republican Party can deliver that. And by the way, where is the outrage from mainstream media about this horrific tragedy? Vote for Michael Whatley to the United States Senate. He will not allow this to happen again.
As I piece together this puzzle, and let me be clear, this is not an attempt to justify the killer, because you will never hear that from me. The puzzle includes fragments we like and fragments we do not. Not every one of those 14 releases was necessarily a missed opportunity to prevent the tragedy. It remains unclear whether the court or the system had the legal grounds to detain him during his most recent cases, whether those were minor administrative offenses or serious crimes, and whether there were arguments in favor of releasing him. It is unclear why Democrats should bear direct responsibility for this murder, as the case seems used in a broader debate on safety, justice, immigration, and refugee policy, the very issues that brought Donald Trump to power. And now, Irina is being turned into a sacred symbol, a political tool from which everyone seeks to gain points, including Donald Trump's son, who on the social network X called those who display the Ukrainian flag in their profiles, clowns. He was outraged that people stayed silent about the murder of 23-year-old Ukrainian woman Irina Zorushka in the U.S. He also criticized the New York Times for not reporting the tragedy, despite its past extensive coverage of Black Americans killed by white police officers. We will return to that point. But this is the same Donald Trump Jr. who, in the year 2024, stated that Russia's war in Ukraine means very little to the United States and called for an end to American aid to Ukraine. Is this not a policy of double standards? Then there is Elon Musk, who donated $1 million for murals honoring the murdered Ukrainian woman Irina Zorushka across American cities. He also blocked Starlink for Ukrainian troops, causing deaths on the front line. Irina Zorushka's fund reached $2,500,000. The mural initiative, featuring her image in prominent locations across American cities, was launched by Intercom CEO Owen McCabe, who contributed $500,000. This campaign unfolds amid outcry after the murder of the 23-year-old Ukrainian woman. It remains uncertain whether these new murals will replace those dedicated to George Floyd. Why did I mention George Floyd? Both cases evoke strong emotions and widespread public reaction, amplified by video and media coverage. Both raise urgent questions about justice, protection, and law enforcement accountability. In the Black Lives Matter case, the focus was on violence against black individuals, by police or others, with society responding to inequality, racism, and systemic failure. And here, too, we are confronted with issues of ethnicity, a Ukrainian woman, an immigrant, a refugee, in search of safety. There is a sense that Irina's death is being positioned as a counterpoint to the story of Floyd. Irina Zorushka may become a symbol of the failure of public safety policy and the weakness of criminal justice. For Ukrainians and Ukraine abroad, her death symbolizes tragedy, a reminder that even in a safe country, brutal violence can occur. What I want to ask is this: why does Trump express such aggressive condemnation toward Irina's murder, yet consistently refuses to denounce the real killer, Putin, who continues to ruthlessly take the lives of hundreds of Ukrainians every single day?
You are absolutely right. In one case, the killer is direct. In the other, the killer acts through intermediaries, his own intermediaries. A mass, maniacal murderer. I am referring to Putin. There is a grim and sobering expression. While a single murder is seen as a tragedy, mass killings that occur during war are often reduced to mere statistics. Unfortunately, international law often deals in statistics. It is war, people are dying, yet the narrative shifts: you must have done something, you provoked it. Sometimes in criminology, they say the victim provoked the killer, that the murder happened because of the victim. This is used to justify the killer in court. As if, had she not provoked him, he would not have killed her. But we just saw the reality: a young woman sitting quietly, reading on her phone, and he walked up behind her and stabbed her neck. And the same logic is applied to Putin. In international law, they speak of national interests, geopolitical chessboards, global confrontation. It's not just about the war in Ukraine. Negotiations and compromises happen. We give something to Putin here, he gives something there. And that is the problem. I agree. Because once you tolerate a murderer, here, Putin, you break the rules. Then, inevitably, the talk shifts from murder to statistics.
I also asked this to a political expert from ChatGPT, since it has no emotions. Here are some possible explanations why the reaction to the Zorushka case seems stronger than to daily killings in Ukraine. According to its analysis, the key factors are proximity and visibility. This case is visible in the United States. It became a media event, with videos, public accusations, and politicians' reactions. These elements let people speak out. When it comes to war, there are many deaths, greater distance, geopolitics, and complexity. It is harder to respond with general statements or demand specific accountability, especially from domestic politicians in the United States. For Trump, the political advantage likely lies in using this case within the context of his upcoming election campaign. Crime, public safety, citizen protection, criticism of the Democrats, classic themes that resonate with some voters. Timing, scale, and possible direct influence, in short, resolving the Zorushka case, fall under the US, its laws, and courts. Trump can push for laws, suggest changes, and act locally or at the state level. In contrast, Putin's case falls under international law, a framework Trump has shown he won't uphold. Foreign policy, diplomacy, sanctions, these are complex mechanisms, often riddled with obstacles that Trump finds difficult to navigate. But that does not mean we will stop reminding him about the hundreds who have been tortured, executed, killed by tanks, missiles, and drones. And stopping those deaths is also within the power of the US. Again, I express my deepest condolences to the family and loved ones, and urge that Irina Zorushka's murder not be used for US political battles. Out of respect for her memory, and for every victim killed in Ukraine and beyond. See you in 24 hours.